nature's best, Bobtail. Welcome back here with your Feel Good Morning Show, Expresso, only on SABC3, and we're back with our vet, Dr. Roy Aronson, talking about tick bite fever this morning. But here's your chance to call in and ask your pet-related question, 083 91 33728. Dr. Roy, pet or tick bite fever, we've been talking about that, and you said there's some myths, around tick bite fever, and that's if you leave the head in when you take the tick off, that causes tick bite fever.
Well, that's the myth. We get so many people that come to us and say, please, can you take the tick off? I'm scared of leaving the head inside. There is no head to leave inside. What the tick has is it has little mouth parts. And these little mouth parts, they serrate and they cut into the skin. And then the tick injects a little bit of saliva through those mouth parts to prevent the blood from clotting. And then it has a blood meal. Yeah. And when it comes off, it retracts those little mouth parts. So if you've got a tick on the dog or on an animal, and you don't want to touch it with your fingers, take a tissue, take the tick and hold it and gently, don't yank it.
Don't yank it.
If you yank it, you're going to yank the head or the body off and leave those little mouth parts in. Yeah. But if you just pull it gently, it kind of lets go, It doesn't want to leave itself behind, so it lets go. And then you can chuck it away, flush it, do whatever you want to. But the disease is not caused by the head being left behind. It's caused by a germ called Babesia canis in dogs, Babesia felis in cats, Rickettsia canori in humans. Yeah. Wow. That little bug is injected with the saliva. Yeah. And then another thing, it's not the tick that bites today that causes tick bite fever tomorrow. It's the tick that bit last week. So if you find a tick on your dog, get it off, sure. And if your dog is sick tomorrow, it's from the tick that bit last week. And if your dog is sick in a week's time, it's from the tick that you found today.
Interesting. All right, so we have a call on the line. John from George. Good morning, John.
Good morning to you.
Morning. What is your question for Dr. Roy?
My question is this. I have a 6-year-old spayed dachshund who seems to have a bit of a runny tummy. Is there anything you can recommend for her to obviously calm it down or solidify it, if you call it?
Look, it's a difficult one because there are many different things that cause tick bite fever. Many different things that cause tummy upsets. But just rule of thumb, withhold food for 12 hours, limit water, and then feed a bland diet like some plain boiled chicken and rice. And if that hasn't helped by the next day, then I think you need a vet. There are many things that can cause, and you will need some help.
Good. Thank you very much for your advice.
Thank you so much, John. We have another caller, Jana from Cape Town. Morning, Jana.
Hello.
Morning. What is your question for Dr. Roy?
I want to know, is it normal for puppies to get hiccups?
Hiccups. Is it normal for puppies to get hiccups?
Yes.
Interesting.
It's very, very common, and it's a very common question. The dogs will sit there and hic their way through the morning. It's very normal. They grow out of it. Nothing to worry about.
I think it's adorable. I think it's adorable. Jana, thank you so much. So to get back to tick bite fever, what are some of the signs and symptoms you need to look out for, and what do you need to do?
Well, when your dog is lying around like this, listless and quiet, and of course Bob's had an early morning.
Yeah, exactly. Bob said you're excused.
Listlessness, loss of appetite. And if you look at the eyes, gums are not a great spot to look at, but look at the eyes, just kind of do that. And you see the mucous membranes are pale. That's a problem. And if they go yellow, this color, it's an even bigger problem. Wow. And just a tip, look at the normal dog. Look at your dog when your dog is well, so that you have an idea what color his eyes are, so that when he's sick, he or she, you'll know that there's a change. Wow. That's really important.
Okay, and it's a very serious condition if they do get it, so vet's attention is definitely needed.
Tick bite fever, there is no immunity. They can get it again and again and again. Each time they get it, it's a little worse. And get thee to a vet. You really do need
get thee to a vet. Thank you so much, Dr. Roy. Of course, you can follow Dr. Roy on Twitter at The African Vet, and you can ask your questions there as well. Also on Facebook, Roy Aronson, and post your questions right there. Thank you so much, Dr. Roy. Really appreciate it. Always nice to have you. Have yourself a fantastic Freedom Day.
Thank you, Ewan.
Awesome. Right now, let's catch up with our news headlines in the Express.
Stay with Expresso and SABC3.